Welcome back to a new video. You guys saw yesterday's video where we were working on the sprayer. Today we are dissecting this John Deere 925 and we are gonna get these turtles tore off, get under the floor, see what the drive system looks like. I'm expecting to replace all the gears under the floor or however them drive. I'm pretty sure there's a big gear on the turtle and a little gear next to it, or vice versa. The little gear under the turtle, big gear next to it, something like that. And they just drive off each other because every one rotates opposite of the previous one. So like this one will run that way, and then actually hang on, that one runs that way. Those two run the same. Oh, I guess they all do run the same direction. Nope, that one runs the same. The first three run the same, and then this side runs clockwise, that side runs counterclockwise. For some reason I thought they were every other, but I guess not. So we're gonna start tearing this apart. I'm gonna show you guys what I do. I've never had this apart. I have no idea how they come apart, so bear with me. You guys are gonna learn right along with me. Alright, so the first thing I'm doing is I want to isolate for sure whether the bad section is in the cutter bar itself or in the gearbox. So we are taking this coupler off that goes from the gearbox to the first turtle. Simple first step was taking the 4 bolts out. You access them from in there, and so we got them out. That is all that attaches the CV joint and this thing to the top of the turtle. And then from there, there's 2 bolts. This collar was there, and so you take the 2 bolts out of that collar. Collar comes apart. I don't think this serves a purpose on holding it on there. I think it just protects those splines from hay moving across them, but these nuts were kind of a bugger. We had to hold the screwdriver on like so to keep the nut from spinning. But once we got that off there, I'm sure it's going to take some persuasion, but we are going to get this knocked off. So turtle number 1 is off. So now we have the first hub assembly accessible. That's what the rest of these look like if you take I think it's if you take the 4 bolts off, that's what you see. But then this, all we have to do is take this bolt off, and this is on a spline shaft, and that'll pop off. But this is what the first, I don't know if you want to call it a gear case, but that's what we're at. There's a bolt there, and I think a bolt there. It's hard to tell, there ain't much left of it. I don't know if this thing sat outside or what. That is not a lot. We're probably going to be using extractors on them things. Then there's little bolts across the back here. Take this floor pan out, because I think I'm going to replace, if it's not terribly expensive, I think I'm going to replace this floor pan. If not, if it is expensive, then these spots there where the knives have rubbed through, we're going to be cutting them out and putting a plate in and welding little patches in there. But that's the only spot that's actually rubbed through, and I want to fix it because with these little nubs sticking up, they hit the knife on the way around, and I don't want to have exposed metal underneath it because this is here to take the friction wear of the hay rubbing across it. I don't want that to transfer down to the main frame and start eroding the frame away. So next thing, we're going to spin this around because you can tell right there's a rough spot. And then it goes smooth. Hang on. Oh, that might be that. Yeah, that floor is really bad there. We're going to have to just flat out replace that, I think. I wonder what the chances of that being our problem all along is, because I never noticed that. That must have just cut loose. So that's spinning around. Yeah, it binds right up. Huh. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we found our issue. That is it right there. It binds everything up. That's why it looked like it was in between the floors, because I could still wiggle this turtle some, and I could wiggle that one, so I was guessing it was the gear in between, broke a tooth or something, but that is it there. So, I'm happy because that means I don't have to tear down into the floor, but, and I think the price tag got a little cheaper there now, since I think that's the issue. Alright, so then, maybe it's it. That is definitely it, because it runs fine all the way around, and then you get to there, it binds on it, and then you get around that way, and it binds on it. What we're going to do is we're going to pull this turtle off, and we're going to see if it spins around freely. If that's the case, then that peel up of the floor right there is definitely our issue. So I don't remember what size this is. Bigger than what I have. 24, I'm guessing that size stands out in my head. Which I don't have a 20. Quinn doesn't include the 24 in their thing. It's not 27. It's definitely 24. Alright. Well, if this chrome socket comes apart and kills me, it's Harbor Freight's fault for not including it in their impact socket set. Jeez, I've had that off before. She is on there. Oh, come on. I literally had this turtle off last fall because this one was out of time. All that trouble. No, that bit didn't work. I was gonna say it's finger tight, but it's not. Stuck the breaker bar all the way through right here and held it with my foot, and then pulled with the breaker bar. There we go. I think this turtle's getting replaced, and possibly this one. I gotta find out. I gotta get these little buggers are $70 a piece. I bought 4 of them, I think, last year, and obviously I need 2 there. That one's got them all. That one's missing 1. That one's got them all, and the end one might be missing 1. Those keep the hay from rubbing these bolts down and making it to where you can't get them off. Alright, so now get you to where you can see what I see. We lift up, and you can see the shaft there, the drive shaft. And yeah, that is tore up. So I'm guessing when I ran it in the field, that came right up and wedged. So now let's see. We spin it. Oh. Nope, there's definitely something else going on here. I'm gonna check and make sure all the other ones don't have spots like that. One's good. That one's good. That one's good. It looks like that one's good. Yeah, that was a disappointing revelation. So this one, it's not this one grabbing. I'm seeing if I can feel which one is the issue, because I should be able to feel it bind. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one is binding under the floor somewhere, or on the floor or under the floor somewhere. It's not touching there anywhere. It's not touching there. Aha. Yeah, so it's this turtle. All right, we're gonna pull this turtle now. Do you see a pattern here? Yeah. I should have just bought all the turtles last year. I was sitting there thinking about it, but I wanted to mow hay, so I didn't. And you know what I got to do? I got to deal with a $4.99 New Holland hay bind that's wore out. Don't use a 6-point socket kit or a 12-point socket, kids. Oh, shoot. Well, might be in trouble now. Maybe I can pound a 7/8 on it. Please excuse me while I go to our local parts store and buy a 24mm 6-point impact socket. Alright, here we go. We're on to K-Tool 24mm 6-point. We're going to start by hand. I see it. Oh my word. I had this one off last year.
Did you?
Yeah. I had both these two off. And they're both. Between this was all binding up under the turtle when it would go around. And then this one is bent down on the end, and the nut or the bolt head just drives right into the floor when it goes around the back. Oh, and I think between both of those two things that I don't know.
Crap.
Jeez. Are you kidding me?
What, is that a seal around that shaft or what?
It just looks like a bearing.
I just wonder if we put heat just on that head. Let it transcend down there.
This
One
is all
piece.
one piece all the way across the back.
That's those bolts on the back.
Those bolts, and then it goes underneath these pieces that are held on by these two bolts. Alright, kind of dove into diagnostic mode. You guys pretty much saw the extent of the takeout, or the disassembly, except for this shield here wraps around the corner back in there. Because that hole right there is the fill hole for the hydraulic fluid that runs in this cutter bar. And the fill tube was not in it. So we had to take that shield off, get back in there. We're trying to get the rest of that tube out. It broke off. And the light's going dead. Well, I can see threads in there, so it's not, there's not much broke off in there, but there's some. I was at the guy we're getting our Conklin products through for fertilizer, and he gave me this can, penetrating oil. And you guys saw me struggling with that turtle, and we sprayed that penetrating oil on it, and I left it and did the rest of that stuff down there, took all those off, and then came back to it, and I kid you not, I could have broke it loose with that ratchet. I just started to pull on it, and it was just tink, and just like that it came out. I've never had penetrating oil do that. I never use penetrating oil because I don't believe in it, but that stuff does something for sure. So anyway, got the turtles off, inspected everything. Everything turns nicely, so I don't think there's a problem under the floor. There could still be, but I don't think there is. The only thing we came across is there's a bearing going out in this turtle assembly here. So we have to dissect that one down and pull that bearing out. I think we pull the 4 bolts off on this, and the top half of this cover comes off, and then we can press the bearings out and press new ones in. But don't quote me on that. I guess you guys will see anyway. We're wrapped up for the day though. There's 2 turtles for sure that need to be replaced, so we'll see how much that costs. I'm guessing those are $400 or $500 a piece, so that'll burn up my budget pretty quick. My budget is $1,500 to get this thing running for spring, so, or summer. So we'll see if I can do it under that or not. This side, we were just dissecting all that from the back side there. Everything turns fine on this side of it. We had some binding, but I'm pretty sure it's just this yoke because it's turned in like that. So we'll see. But I think this is gonna be easier than we originally thought. So we just gotta get that tube out of there and get the new tube, and we should be all set. Today is a Saturday. Dad's gone. Well, actually they're on their way back already, but he was gone yesterday and today for most of the day. So I've been working in the shop. I've had my truck in there. I've got it tore down so that I can to the point where I got to order parts. So now I've been working on the discbine, so that's why the camera's on. We're gonna work on that for the rest of the afternoon. Yeah, I brought this truck in. I knew it was a major project, but I kind of planned on it being quick in and out. And yeah, let's just say it's not. Originally planned on just being a bearing swap on the steering column. Ended up pulling the steering column out. Planned on putting one in off of one of our parts trucks. Well, we lost the key to the parts truck, and I cannot get the tumbler out, so I ended up trying to drill that and screwed it all up. So we got one of this whole unit coming on eBay, along with a clock spring, because I accidentally popped that one apart and messed it all up as well. This is the one that came out of this truck, and then we'll put some parts on it when it gets here. I had a brand new ignition switch, so we're putting that on. This is the shifter tube. Anyway, discbine. What have I done? I gotta grab my light. So, you can probably see by looking that all the parts are now here. So this is the floor that we're putting in. And then we got a whole plethora of bolts and stuff. And taking these back bolts off, the little ones that run along the back of the discbine, has been an absolute trip. And I finally, I think, got it to where they can all come out easily. And that is by welding nuts on every single one of them. I did a test run and I got one out, so I went ahead and copy and pasted along every other one. And they've been sitting here cooling for a while, so we'll see if they turn out or not. All right, perfect. I accidentally warped the bolt, so this might be fun. I can't get it turned any farther. Oh, there we go. All right. No. Perfect. Oh, is it gonna go? I think it's going. The reason why we had to weld nuts on is because the heads of these bolts have had so much hay running over them over the years that they were just completely rounded out for a 10 mil. And my bolt extractor set seemed to go down low enough, but I just could not get them to grip onto the bolt head. So this was the only solution left. These are half-inch nuts, I believe. And just cleaned up the tops of the head so that the welder would get good continuity. And then there you go. And of course that heat and electrical charge running through the bolts always helps. They're not very long bolts, but you can see the rust on that one. There's a lot holding them in. Well, we had that one that didn't work. That one, the bolt broke off. That one didn't work. And then that one didn't work. Overall, not bad. Because I think there's 10 of them total, or 13. So, not terrible. We will try and re-weld these ones. And then that one is just gone forever. Alright, here we go again. I really hope they work this time. Oh, I don't want to block your guys' view. Come on. Come on, baby. Oh, yeah, I think it's gonna go. I think it's gonna go. Alright. It's either moving or it's gonna break the bolt. That's one of two outcomes that's about to happen. But I think it's going. Oh, that's not bad. There we go. Board's coming out. I think. As far as I know, there's nothing else. Huh. I wasn't expecting it to be completely solid all the way back underneath it. I thought there was and twisting. It's solid all the way back and kind of rounds off there. That plug is where the sprocket is. where the drive sprocket's at. You take that plug out, and then I believe there's either a bolt underneath it or that is what holds the sprocket. And I don't know how you get that sprocket physically out of there, but that's where it's at. Because then you have, there's bolts, like there's one there, and I think there's on the bottom, if you take the skid plate off. Each one of these turtles is a module that all bolt together into unison, and there's seals and gaskets and stuff all the way along there. Probably a little bit silly design, but if one of them gaskets ever goes out prematurely, you're dealing with an oil leak. And you gotta dismantle the entire discbine to get to it. But this discbine, I think, is an early 2000s, and I guarantee they didn't plan on it surviving 25 years. You can see this floor a little better now that I pulled it out. It was something got hit right here on this turtle. And this is where we had the issues with it locking, going around. This one was the same way, but the bolt was hitting here. So somehow it got heaved and the bolt hit right there. It could also be the turtle being bad. We do plan on replacing it. We got 2 brand new turtles sitting there, which actually come out a lot cheaper than you would think. I was planning on dropping like 400 bucks a pop on those turtles, and they were 120 bucks. So that was a good day, in my opinion. Yeah, but you can see here, something hit, and it drug, because of the jagged edge there, it drug right up the floor and tore it, I think, is what I'm seeing. It's like, it's almost like a sickle section sort of jag. But that is weird. And there's obviously a lot of metal missing, so it ran for quite a while after that. But this just kept bending up, and eventually got to where that turtle came across it, and it just couldn't pass it, and it just locked up right there. What in the world? Oh, the bag's open. I just grabbed these bolt bags, and all of a sudden bolts started flying. I'm like, what in the world? You must have had to make one a partial. Anyway, floor's laying in there. I don't know what the dude who made it was smoking, but the holes don't line up quite right. It's gonna be a little tricky, but we'll get it. Get you guys fasten down. Let's see what we can do here. I think there's 13 of them across this. So get the front ones, or get the back ones lined up, and then move on to the front. Somehow we'll have to like stretch the piece a little bit, but I think we can do it. I'm working off camera over here. I decided to try this one first. It looked like it lined up a little better, but it doesn't. They're all just a hair short. There's my ratchet. Not that one. Try and hold them straight. Try not to tear threads up. You know the drill. Putting bolts in. I got all those bolts started all the way across the back. Now we gotta clean these front deals up. Get them cleaned, and then they go on right there. So we'll need some help with that, I think, because somebody's got to hold that up. Or I'll probably grab a floor jack and jack up from underneath, because you can see there's also the skid plate there, which probably will be what keeps me from finishing today, because I've got a floor jack under my truck right now, and there's a floor jack over in the other barn holding the grain cart up. Other than that, that's all I got for floor jacks at the moment. And cleaning these little boogers up, you can see they're cracked. I can weld them up, that's no big deal. But this one, that one's a problem. I may end up having to order 1 or 2 of these, because there's a few of them that are pretty thin. That one's wearing away, but it's still true. That side's cracked. This one has this piece busted back, but I think I can hammer it forward and re-weld it. Other than that, that one's probably the truest one of them all. And then that one, oh no, that one's the best. That one looks like it was probably replaced. But I'm out of budget for this, so I'm trying. I don't really want to replace a bunch of these, but I will for sure have to replace this one because that is just not, there's nothing I can do about that one. So I guess I will call Deere on Monday. Other than that, the rest of them will probably pick back up on this on Monday. We will be able to start putting them on from this side. We can start on that side too, but if we do this side, then as we work our way that way, we can be putting turtles on and everything, and then we won't have to, actually no, we do have to start from that side, because when you put that turtle on, you have to time the rest of them off of that end turtle. So we'll start with that side and work our way this way, and once we get to the end, we'll be looking pretty close to done. And then I have to put the corner plate back on in the corner there, which is that piece. We can put this side all back together. That'll be done. I still have to source a fill tube, which we were talking about making it out of PVC. I don't know if that's a good idea with the vibrations of this mower, but we for sure gotta get something, a piece of 1-inch pipe. I almost wonder if we could rethread this one and just, then it'd be a little shorter. Alright, I've done a little bit of work on the discbine since we talked last. I started mounting the turtle guards. I don't know if you guys saw that part or not. The two new ones are sitting here, so we'll get them mounted at some point. But then I also put in the corner cover, and I got the new fill tube for the floor installed, and I put this cover on most of the way. I had to add to the metal there. Got a carriage bolt in. I got to pick up an 8mm bolt to thread into that hole. The threads are recessed in there, so I got to be able to have a metric bolt. And then you can see the new fill tube there. 1-inch pipe. Got an 18-inch long stick from Ace Hardware, and got that taken care of. So once we get them guards on, we'll be just starting from this end, putting turtles on and making sure they're all properly timed, and then replacing the two turtles that we're going to replace. Yeah. This is not the camera project.
Of course it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. That's not right. As you guys can see, there's quite a project taking place here, but your guys' video is here, and I'm showing you guys that it is done. We've got the turtles mounted, they're timed, I've rotated through every single one, nothing hits on anything, nothing rubs on anything. I think we are completely ready to go with this. We just gotta grease it up and then wait for Dad to get the van out so that we can get this thing out of here. So with that, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this was educational for anybody who's got this mower, might be having issues with it. You know how to tear one down now, or you've seen how I tear it down, and hopefully it helps you. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Stick around if you guys want to see this thing running in the field. It'll be just a couple weeks here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, I hope you guys found an education in this video. And thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.